Can you really see through the darkness? You are wandering and you have no idea where to go. You are wandering and you have no one to turn to. Can you see? Can you see through the darkness? Can you feel your purpose? Nothing can stop your purpose. Nothing can stop what's meant for you. Nothing around you can stop what's already yours. Your destiny belongs to you. Do you feel it? Do you understand the purpose behind the darkness? It represents something. It serves a purpose. It's an unknown purpose that many of us never would understand. Can you see through the darkness? You travel down this path. You travel down this path of the unknown, and yet you are afraid. You are afraid because you don't understand it. You are afraid because you feel empty. You are afraid because no one is there to help you. I would like to introduce you to the light, to the dawn, to the beauty, to the understanding, and knowing that this is the joy. This is the joy that you must embrace. This is the moment of happiness, without any despair, without any rejections.
We are the revolution if we cease to conform with traditional, programmed, this is how you do it reality. All the great changes of society and changes of anything, the great visionaries, all of them have been ones that have walked out of the program and taking the shit for doing so. Because out of the program is the only way you're going to push on in terms of understanding what life is about, who we are and where we're coming from. The greatest fear in the world is the opinions of others, and the moment you are unafraid of the crowd, you are no longer a sheep. You become a lion, and a great roar rises from your heart. The roar of freedom, of being you and not someone else's version of you. Come out of the masses, stand alone like a lion and live your truth according to your own light, not someone else's version of it. Expressing our uniqueness is a revolution that will change everything, because the program depends on that not happening. It is better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep. What's the point? Doing what is right, no matter what you are told, is the spirit of change. Because if you don't do that, you're just operating within the circle and nothing changes. You have to step out of the circle and do what you believe to be right rather than what you are told to do, to break out of the program, out of the circle, and thus move society forward. Oh, it's so simple, expressing our uniqueness. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. That's how you change the world. That's how you change the world. It's the only way. Jump! And you find you can fly. Doesn't mean there ain't challenges, but my God, you find your life changes and it becomes the adventure and not the chore.
Let's roll, man. This is starting to get painful. This is uncomfortable. So you sit down. You have to figure out ways, and everybody's different. That's how the book kind of talks about, like, we all have these things about, 5 steps to this and 4 steps to this. It's a lot more than that. That's all bullshit. It's a practice that you have to, it's a habit. So if you know that at 40%, I'm feeling pain. At 40%, I'm feeling pain. That's where the 40% rule kicks in. Now it starts. Okay, I'm feeling pain. My mind's saying all this to me. It's saying, get out of here, run, flee. The fight or flight kicks in. Okay, we're done. We're not good enough. It starts telling you all these things. You start to believe it because the mind controls all. This is the time where you have to gain control back of your mind. It's okay. Let me see if I can go 45%. And once you start giving yourself more and more hope and start realizing, okay, the mind starts to be, okay, what are you doing? We're supposed to be going right and you're going left. You start then controlling your mind. Start finding more in yourself. And then it goes from 40% to a lot further than that. But that's the start of it though. Get to the spot where your mind is saying stop. Wherever that is, you gotta get there first. And then that's when that starts to work for you. You gotta control yourself in that moment.
Your brain likes to gravitate towards what it's most familiar with. The brain loves familiar things, okay? So the more you think about something, the more you place yourself on that beach, in that house, with that amount of money, with that body, the more repetitive it is that you place yourself in those things, those places, and those situations. The more your brain becomes familiar with it, the more it gravitates towards it. You can't think about it once. It's the repetition over and over again. Your brain begins to think, oh, I belong here. We belong here. You actually eventually convince yourself literally that you belong in your dreams by the repetitive and specific thinking and visions of them over and over again. One thing to be conscious of is the RAS doesn't reveal to you necessarily what you need necessarily, because what you need has always been there. What it does is it opens you up to seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting the things that you need in order to attract them into your life. The last part of the steps that I want to share with you is that you've got to control the beginning and the end of your day with your thinking. And so one of the first things you need to do when you wake up, after you do your stretching, your prayer, your meditation, whatever it is to take a 5-minute window and control your thinking, whether you after your meditation, your prayer, whatever it is, but you take a 5-minute window and you visually see your goals and dreams. Picture them as videos in your mind. Picture them as you possessing them and see them written down on a sheet of paper. This will begin to control your mind for the day. And then at the very end of the day, what I do, one of the last things I do after my prayer, when I'm laying in bed at night, is I read through my goals and my dreams, I picture them, and I allow my RAS and my subconscious mind to go to work on them. When I get my sleep, it's going to work on revealing to me, it's playing back the video, believe it or not, of my day in my mind. And it is revealing to me the things that I may have missed in that day that could bring those things into my reality. And it helps me wake up ready to get them as well. So if you'll do that, where you wake up, you go to bed, and when you check your phone, you are going to alter those 9% of your thoughts. These are 3 key steps on changing the way you think. And we know if we can change the way we think, we change the 9% of our thoughts, we change what we obsess about, we begin to possess them. That thought opens up a new space that didn't exist before, just like that chair you're sitting in, and we'll begin to create those things in our lives. Use these 3 steps to change your thinking, and I know if we stack that up over a day, a week, a month, 3 or 4 years, and a decade, the direction of your life is completely different. You see yourself living like this.
You know what you should do? Every time you get a chance to experience first class, you should do it, because it plants a seed. It's like the next time you buy an airplane ticket, just ask for an upgrade. Pay a little extra money to fly first class. What it does is it conditions your mind. Once you get in first class and you see how wide the seats are, and you find out why they shut that curtain, see, because they shut that curtain because they can't let you see what's going on up there. They passing out hot nuts, everybody get a washcloth, they got a menu, you get to decide what you want, all the drinks is free. Once you sit in first class one time, the next time you get on a plane, it's very difficult to walk past them seats. And then your mind starts thinking of ways to get back to first class. And guess what? That's what you start attracting to your life. And you start behaving and producing stuff to get you back into first class. And next thing you know, you attract the thing you need to produce the outcome that you want. Life is all about the law of attraction. That's how you do it.
Human beings, we can feel like we're special, and we can feel like no one's ever been through what I've been through, and the world is hard for me and easier for everyone else. Well, the reality is that's not true, and we're not special. And the things that people go through, other people have gone through, most likely much, much worse and much more significant. So that, to me, was it gave me at least some level of perspective to realize that other warriors had gone through this before. This was my turn, and this is how I'm going to try and handle it.
Okay, so how do we get to this point? How do we get to a point where we will move forward regardless of what's going on in life, because this is something most people won't do. You know it too. Not only, it's not just you, it's most people. So if you can get you to do it, how much of an advantage does that give you over the rest of the people? A fucking huge one. So what I would like you to consider is, how can you improve this part of your life? Well, it's real simple, guys. And I learned this lesson from a guitar teacher I had 10 years ago. All right. And he said to me, he said, "Hey, Andy, you don't have any fucking patience." And I'm like, "Well, no shit, Matthew. I have fucking zero patience." And he's like, "You know how you get patience?" And I said, "How?" And he says, "By doing things that require patience." And that's what I want you to remember. If you need to understand and you need to develop how to operate regardless of what's going on in external circumstances when things are inconvenient, how do you get better at that? Well, you get better at that by doing things that are inconvenient intentionally. Okay, looking for opportunities to move forward when the circumstances are not ideal. All right, looking for opportunities to make things harder on yourself. Looking for opportunities to develop the mental aspect of discipline and fortitude that are going to move you forward. Guys, this is a major, major, major key to winning long-term in life. All right, I'm not talking about motherfuckers that win once. I'm not talking about, that's not my people. That's not you. Okay. I'm talking about making a life where you are a perpetual winner in any direction you decide to go. All right. And this is a skill you're going to have to develop. So number one, realize, hey, do you have this or do you not? Take inventory of how many times you're talking yourself out of everything. Take inventory how many times you justify your lack of action based upon what's going on with your mood, or your world, or your relationship, or your job. How many times are you talking yourself out of doing what you know you need to do? My guess is probably a lot more than you should be. All right. So guys, first realize that you have to build the skill. And secondly, start looking to actively build that. Now, a lot of people, all the fucking weak ass motherfuckers in the world will fucking comment, "Why would I work to make things harder on myself? This is fucking stupid. Who the fuck is this guy?" Well, this is a motherfucker that built a whole lot of shit for fucking nothing, telling you how to fucking win. Okay? That's what it is. And I'm telling you that if you want to develop this superhuman skill of kicking ass every single time, no matter what the fuck is going on in your life, no matter what's going on in your world, no matter what's going on with the weather, no matter what's going on in our crazy ass society, if you want to learn how to kick ass, regardless of all those things, you will actively seek out opportunities to strengthen this muscle that is doing shit when it's not convenient. Okay? That's called discipline. Now, discipline, guys, is the key to everything. This is why I talk about it so much. If you could be in control of your decisions and your actions 100% of the time, what could you not accomplish? And how could you be held back? And how could you not get where you want to go? Because if we're being honest with ourselves, the reason you're not where you want to be can only be one of two things. It could be one, you're working the wrong plan. And in that case, there's lots of people out there, including me, that will help you figure out how to get on the right plan. Secondly, if you are on the right plan, it's that you're not doing it long enough. You haven't been doing it long enough. Okay. And the reason that you probably haven't been doing it long enough is because you fucking talk yourself out of it every time the shit ain't convenient. Success and winning is not convenient. Success and winning is not comfortable. Success and winning in fucking life is going to be a daily fucking task for you.
I'm kind of antisocial, right? Like, if you don't know me, we're not going to have a conversation. Like, we're not having I'm not walking up and talking to you. If I don't know you, I'm not walking up and saying hi to you. It's not happening. It's not my personality. If you say hi to me, I'll say hi. I'm not disrespectful. I'm not rude, but I'm not looking to have a bunch of conversations with people. And so that's known to me. That's not okay for the business side of my life, which is, hey, I got to talk to people, got to build relationships, had to know my commanding officer, had to know the commodore, had to know the conventional battalion commander, had to know the brigade commander, had to build relationships. Could I just talk about the war with the brigade commander? Well, I could, but what's more powerful, that I talk about war and I talk about where I'm from or where he's from or what, other things? Yes, because I want to build a relationship. Why? Because I'm trying to build trust. What? Why? Because I want him to allow me to go out there and do things in his battle space. So that's what they're asking here. They're asking you to step out of your comfort zone. Does it need to become your primary focus? No. Should you try and step out of the comfort zone? If you want to grow, if you want to have more opportunity, I would give it a try. If not, like I said, if you hate it and you feel like you're not being true to your true self, that's okay. Maybe your true self is meant to be the one that's back not getting promoted. They need somebody to do that. Yeah. If it's not you, it might be somebody else.
Yeah.
It's another one of those tough questions where people, hit me with like, should I be loyal to myself? Because the obvious answer that everyone wants to hear is like, yeah, dude, the most important thing is you got to be loyal to yourself. That's the most important thing. Yeah. Okay, if that's what your priority is, then that's the most important thing. But guess what? Who can take care of the other kitchen dogs that respect you so much? Who can take a better care of them than you can? Because if you don't get promoted, and Johnny Glamour Boy gets promoted because he likes to go out and schmooze the clients, and now he gets promoted, and now who's going to take care of the kitchen dogs on his time? Right? Not him. He doesn't care. He got promoted not for taking care of his guys. He got promoted because he schmoozed the clients.
And so my thought process was, man, if I'm gonna give up on wind sprints, there's no way I can lead a family. I'm like, man, if I can't lead a huddle, there's no way I can lead my son and my daughter one day. I'm like, man, if I can't show up on time, there's no way I can lead a wife and 2 children. If I can't do what I say I'm gonna do, there's no way I can be a leader, a priest, and a protector and a provider. It's no way. And so what happens is you have people that look good, they look like Tarzan, but on the inside, they're Jane. You got people that know sports through and through, and to the public, they're public success, but behind closed doors, they're private failure. They can't give the same energy and the same passion to every aspect of their lives. To the thing they're passionate about, they can do it like no other. But in every aspect of their lives, they can't take that energy, that passion, that level of dedication and commitment to everything that they do and understand that it's a representation of who they are. At the end of the day, the core of who they are, it's almost like when you look at Adidas, impossible is nothing. When you look at Nike, you think just do it. And so I always ask people, when I look at you, what do I think? Excuses. When I look at you, do I think victory? Do I look at you, do I think, man, that's a champion right there. That's a guy that I know I can rely on. And when things go south, he's still going to show up and give me everything he got. I told a guy 2 weeks ago, I said, brother, everybody know what to do when everything go right. I said, but the only question you haven't answered for me yet is, what are you going to do when you don't get what you thought you were going to get? What are you going to do when things go wrong? What are you going to do when you work for it and you put yourself in position to get the position, then they come to you and tell you don't have it and you feel played? Will you give up on the mission that you once had to impact lives? The reason I thank you is because I know we need you. The reason I thank teachers all the time is I know we need them. My wife wanted to be a teacher from the time I met her and we was in the 2nd grade. And everybody at the park man, I want to go to the NBA. I want to go to the NFL, Major League Baseball. She's like, I want to be a teacher. I'm like, teacher? She's like, yeah, I want to impact people's lives the way my 2nd grade math teacher impacted my life when I lost both of my parents and they got murdered on the same streets that we walked down to school. I'm like, man, it's deeper than that. I knew it was deeper than that when I met her in 8th grade math class, and our math teacher made us recite a proverb before school every morning. And one day we're walking in lunch and he tapped my shoulder and he said, man, you're going to marry that young lady one day. I said, you lost your mind. I need to get out of your class. I said, it was cool to teach me math. Now you're talking about my life. You tripping. And he ended up walking my wife down the aisle at our wedding. And when he handed her off, he walked by me and winked. He said, I told you. But I'm sitting there thinking, how did he see it? And I started to backtrack and I said, I know exactly how he saw it. I was on a corner in my neighborhood one night with my uncles, and 2 of them are doing 40 years and 20 years in prison, federal penitentiary. And I was just standing there. I wasn't doing no drugs, no drinking, none of that. I was a ball player. And a red Dodge Ram pickup truck pulled up. My uncle taps my leg and says, Ink, who is that? I said, man, that looks like my 8th grade math teacher and basketball coach. They said, what does he want? I said, what's up, Oak? How you doing, sir? He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm hanging out. He said, no, you didn't hear me. What are you doing out here? I said, I'm hanging out. He said, get in the truck. Take you home. Got in his truck, we rode down the block. I got out. He said to me, son, you're special. I said, all right, man, whatever. I said, son, I see something in you.
Sometimes, even if you're the most highly motivated person in the world, that grind starts to beat you down a little bit. And that's when you have to stop looking at the short-term thing, because that's not getting you to get it done. And you got to look, okay, what is the long-term goal that I'm looking at? What am I really trying to get done in the long term? And you say, oh, you know what? I'm actually waking up today early so I can be ahead of the curve, so I can sell more of these widgets or whatever, so that I can buy a house. And you know what? Today matters. Today matters. This decision that I'm making right now is that first step. It's me taking one stroke, swimming in the right direction, heading towards the shore. And if I don't take this, I'm not making any progress.
You're single tasking. Now, here's some of the keys. Again, I teach these in my programs. Number one rule is do things faster.
That when you look in the mirror, that's the one person you can't lie to. So every morning I would shave my head thinking, God, I would reflect back on some of the lies I may have told somebody or some of the ways I acted that I didn't feel comfortable doing. And I did it to impress other normal people.
But watch this. When I bought the house, she's so D, because you get the D's confused. She's so D that she knew I don't need to deal with that. You deal with that.
I know life will back you down. I know life can be tough. But you are on a journey. You know my dad would say, go get it, son. Go get it, be sweet this week. Go get it, be sweet, baby, go get it, Be sweet, baby, go get it, be sweet, baby. Every time I left the house, my mom would say, be sweet, baby, be sweet. My dad would say, go get it, son, go get it, son, go get it, be sweet, go get it. Be sweet, go get it, be sweet, go get it, be sweet. You got to be ready to fight in bounce back parts and counter punch, jab and jab back. Let me tell you something, life is a series of fights. The worst thing you can do is run away from your fights. In order for you to rise up, you better take your game to the next level. Your mindset needs to go to the next level.
In other words, pick up the pace. Move quicker. If you want to get more done, move quickly. Pick up the pace. Just move faster. Just move. Just imagine you're under a deadline. The other end of the building is on fire. You've got to get this done. It's absolutely amazing what happens when you put yourself on. Number two is work longer and harder. As Jim Rohn suggests, it's a wonderful promise. Start a little earlier, work a little harder, stay a little later. You come into the office a little bit earlier. 1 hour of uninterrupted work is the equivalent of 3 hours of work in a busy office environment. So you find opportunities. You come in an hour earlier when no one's there, and you immediately start work, and you can get
The key word there is normal, everyday people. I was trying to make other people like me. How pathetic is that? So this mirror would always tell me, my reflection would say, God, you are a pathetic man. How does that feel every day to be this way? So I would just start having myself accountable. How did I attack today? How did I attack yesterday? And if I didn't do something I was proud of, I would write down a sticky note and I would fix it. So then my senior year in high school, it was a totally different David Goggins.
Work at lunchtime, but everybody goes for lunch. Everything quiets down. Don't go for lunch because everybody else is. Use that time to get on top of things. Don't stay an hour later. What you'll do is you'll beat the traffic coming in, beat the traffic going home. It won't affect your schedule at all, but you'll actually double your productivity. So that's one way. Work longer and harder. The other is work faster. The third way is do things you're better at. Keep asking, what are the things that I am the very best at? Because those are almost invariably the things that pay you the highest hourly rate. So do more and more of the things that you're better at. Now, the fourth task is to get better at your key task. Improving at your key task is critical. It's sort of like skiing. If you're just an amateur skier, you have to go very slowly for fear of falling. The better you get at skiing, the faster you can ski. So since most skiers, kind of measure how many runs did I have today? Well, a good skier can get 10 or 15 runs down the whole mountain. A poor skier may only get 5 or 6.
What brings me joy and happiness is knowing how beautiful the mind is. And I'm one of the few people that didn't read about it, didn't experience it through some drug. If you don't know who you are, I can't tell you who you are. We are all great. No matter if you think you're dumb, no matter if you think you're fat, no matter if you are fat, no matter if you've been bullied, or no matter if you just got back from Iraq or Afghanistan and you have no legs or your arms or whatever, man, we all have greatness. You gotta find the courage. You gotta find the courage to put your Bose headphones on and silence the noise out of this world and to find it. And to find it because it's out there, but it's gonna take hard work, courage, self-discipline.
Your information needs to go to the next level. Your relationships need to go to the next level. To be a shock is about how you move, how you operate. How do you navigate? You have to be disciplined every single day and train yourself to follow through on all your fundamentals. And that's how you're going to be successful. You have to do it when you don't feel like you have to. Do it when you feel discouraged. You have to do it. When you don't feel healthy, you have to do it. When you're under the weather every single day, you have to train yourself to focus and commit to your business and follow through, fighting for your future, fighting for your dreams, fighting for success. When you come over depression, you raise your arms like a champ. When you overcome bankruptcy, raise your arms in victory.
Success is an obligation. Responsible. What did I tell you? I'm responsible for my wife's health. I'm responsible for the home. Listen to me, my wife ain't never do nothing with my kids in school. She was like, you take that. I was so dumb, I didn't even realize she was giving me stuff. I'm just being real. When you stuck on stupid, you don't even see it. She said it on the podcast, sometimes when you so close to a thing, you can't even see it. Sometimes when you so close to a thing and people trying to tell you, you can't see it because you're too close to it. And I dare you to study, and we don't want to study because we don't want to discover what we need to change. Invest money. Read and study. Guys, I got my PhD, master's degree, 4-year degree.
And you know the old saying that some people think they think, and the great majority would rather die than think. But the discipline of clear thinking is the most important because the way you think, the quality of your thinking determines the quality of your decisions and choices. Your decisions and choices determine the actions you take. The actions you take determine your results. Your results determine the quality of your life. And it all starts with your thinking clearly. Thomas Edison once said that thinking is the hardest discipline of all. It requires real effort to think because, especially today, we are so surrounded with distractions. I'm always amazed when I go down the street or fly or drive as people seem totally immersed in listening to things. They've got devices in their ears and stuff on their cell phone. They're listening to music in their car and they're watching television. They simply cannot stop bombarding their mind with sensory input. And of course, when you're doing that, it is impossible for you to think well.
Don't you ever lose hope. Don't you ever give up your mindset. Sharks are powerful creatures. You've got to think different. You've got to be different if you want to be at the top of your food chain. So how will you show up on game day instead of feeling down about your situation? Try to figure out what you can do to create positive momentum for yourself. Even at your lowest point, even at your lowest moment, there is something that you can do to create a small win. Now your small win might not be the same. That's my small win. Your small win might simply be getting out of the bed.
Let me tell you what school did. Everybody like, you don't need to go to school. Some of us need to go to school. Why? Because I never knew how to read and study. Studying is a discipline. There are things that just don't come by osmosis. It's a discipline. And the videos blew up. TGIM blew up. Why? Because of the three of us, Carl had the most C, and Carl was a biology major. So he would literally take the videos in and dissect them like he was in the lab. Business is a science. Marriage is a science. Parenting is a science. Health is a science. For real, you got to read and study, y'all. It's a science.
To think well requires that you practice a couple of techniques. Now, first of all, as Peter Drucker said, you need to take time to think. You need to create long, unbroken chunks of time. The rule is that fast decisions are usually wrong decisions. Especially fast decisions involving people or money are usually wrong decisions. So if you're going to make a decision that has long-term consequences, then you have to give it a lot of thought. You have to sort of look at it like a beautiful piece of porcelain. You look at it from every single side and think about it carefully. And the more carefully you think about a decision, the better the quality of that decision will be when you finally make it. How many times have you said, you know, if I just thought about that a little bit more, I wouldn't have done it? Or if I just thought a bit better, or I just taken time to think? Well, superior people, through experience and through painful experience, learn to take their time in making important decisions.
Your small win might be going to the gym. Your small win might be making one more phone call or getting up an hour earlier to put in some extra work. You have to believe that you control your destiny. Don't put that responsibility on anyone else but you. Something is happening. Something is taking place. The seeds that you've sown there is still working for you. The time and energy you sacrifice, they are not in vain when you plant food, which is really your goal. We have to nurture it. You have to protect it. You can't do one set of crunches and expect. You have a six-pack. You've got to show up every day. You've got to show up day after day. You've got to show up when you're motivated. You've got to show up when you're feeling unmotivated.
So step number one, decide to develop the habit right now, the habit of focusing on what's right in your world instead of what's wrong. The habit of focusing on what you do have instead of what you don't have in a situation. And as basic as that is, and as well as you know it, you've got to make it a habit. Because those habits form the chain of your ultimate character, of who you become and how you end up living your life. We've got to condition ourselves, because if we don't, we'll go back to the automatic state that most people live in today's society. The way to develop the habit is to go on a mental diet. I did this several years ago. As positive as I was going through unbelievable pain at the time. I'd had some major disappointments, some frustrations. I felt like I'd given it all. But what turned me around is one day I picked up this book called The 7-Day Mental Diet. It was a little tiny little booklet. And all the booklet really did was, for about 12 of the 14 pages, it challenged me to really see if I could really truly, for 7 days, live my life without one negative thought. And it kept saying throughout the book, now don't just say, yeah, I can do it, and don't just say, I'm going to do it. Think for a while before you commit to this. Don't actually commit unless you're really going to do it for 7 straight days, no matter what. It doesn't mean you don't have a negative thought. It just means that if you have a negative thought, you don't speak it. You set it aside, you forget about it, or you replace it. If you say something negative, you go erase. What I really mean is this. Or you say, that's not what I mean. Here's what I mean is this. And you immediately focus on something good. It's not that nothing negative ever comes out. It's that you immediately do not allow yourself to hold a negative feeling, a negative thought for 7 straight days, day and night, even when it gets tough, even when somebody disappoints you, even when you get frustrated, even when you give your all and it still turns up lousy. Listen, if all I did was rant and rave on this tape and you didn't listen to anything else I said, but you took on this 7-day challenge, you can't believe what it'll do to your life. Now, I got to tell you, when I first read the book, I thought, wait a second, being positive isn't going to change my life. I got to deal with the real problems around me, those real challenges that are out there. I don't want to just be positive. Somebody says, how's it going? I go, I'm doing great. And they go, why? You go, I don't know, but I just feel good. I don't want to be that way. I want to be real. I want to be on top of things. But you know what? I thought, wait a second. I can be positive about solutions. I can still notice that there's some challenges out there without being negative about it. I can look at the challenges and say, okay, here's what's good about this. Here's how we can use this. Here's how we can turn this thing around. And continue to focus on that. So I took on the challenge for 7 days, changed my life. Now, by the way, one of the keys is you have to have 7 straight days of being absolutely positive. Not one negative thought, not one negative expression that you hold on to. Got to let go of it immediately. If you do not do this, if you're 3 days into it and you do well, and then you have a bunch of negativity, you got to start over. And you know what? After you go about 4 or 5, 6 days in a row doing really well, something major negative is going to happen. How's that for some positive programming? But what it is a test to see how committed you really are. I'll tell you something. After 7 days, you feel like a different person. People around you respond to you like you're different as well. All you want to do is establish the habit of noticing what you do have instead of what you don't have. Noticing what's great about a situation versus what's not great. Focusing on solution instead of problems. That's what changes your life.
Your mind is a weapon, and you got to begin to use it and pick that weapon up and control it. Most people are out of control with their mind. They don't point it at something. They let the world point it, and they misfire all the time. So today, I want you to pick up that weapon that is your mind and begin to point it at the things you want, knowing that it's a magnet that draws to you the things in your life that you would most like to have or that you would most not like to have. And that's where most people make the mistakes in their life. So today I want you to begin with first taking an inventory of the thoughts you have that don't serve you. And I want you to write them down. And I want you to eliminate them. Step 1, write down the thoughts that don't serve you and eliminate them. How do I eliminate them? By replacement. You eliminate them with replacement by thinking a new thought. It's as simple as saying, what thought would I need to have that would serve me to get this goal or dream or vision that I have? And get that thought, write it down, repeat it over and over and over and over again. Because there's a part of our brain called the reticular activating system. And it's the filter that we see the entire world through. I talk about it a great deal in my book, Max Out Your Life. You can click the link here. There's a little bit of the description in the bio as well, or go to maxoutbook.com. You can get the book or go to Amazon. But I talk about this in the book. The reticular activating system is the filter through which you see the entire world. It's powerful. And so that's why it filters out all the things in your life that aren't important to you, so that you can be sane. You don't feel the blood rushing through your left ear. You don't you're not conscious of your breathing. A million stimulus would hit you. If you couldn't filter things out, you'd go crazy. This allows you to only filter into your consciousness what is most important to you. And what's most important to you is what you think about all the time. And it creates a filter. For example, that's why if something's important to you, the reticular activator reveals it to you through vision, sound, touch, you name it. And so, for example, you ever buy a new car, you got a new, blue Honda car. All of a sudden, don't you see that car everywhere? It's on the third, it could be 3 lanes over, other side of the freeway. You see blue Hondas all of a sudden everywhere. They were already all over the road. Why do you see them all of a sudden? You ever notice that before? Because that's become important to you because it's part of your reticular activating system now. So what if you could program your mind that the blue Hondas of your life are your goals, your dreams, and your visions? And the way we do that is repeated thinking, looking at our goals, visualizing them, seeing them over and over again. So let me give you a couple tips to do that. Number 1, your smartphone you check about 400 times a day. 400. The most important thing you could do is on your screensaver, program the thoughts that would serve you, the goals that would serve you. That gives you 400 triggers a day. Every time you pick up this phone, you're looking at your blue Hondas. You're looking at what's most important to you. And what happens is when you put that down, the RAS begins unconsciously to help filter into your existence the people, the places, the conversations, the things that will help you materialize that space you've created with the thought. It fills it with the furniture of your life, the furniture, the people, places, and things. So the second thing is to program your phone with your goals and dreams. That's 400 triggers a day to begin to alter those 9% of your thoughts.
So positive thinking is very important. Of course, you want to clean out toxic beliefs, because in many ways your daily behavior shows your deepest beliefs, but you want to work on mindset along with your heart set and then along with your health set. Sort of a new word I've been playing with, which is, of course, you want to take care of your health. Why? Because it'll give you more energy, it'll affect your brain in positive ways, it'll reduce stress, it'll make you more resilient, it'll give you more grit, but also it'll give you longevity. And just imagine if you had another 20 or 30 years of your life, what you could do in terms of your income, your impact, your influence. And then mindset and heart set and health set and then soul set. And soul set really is another word I've been playing with and teaching, but that's the fourth element really of a world-class interior life, because if you haven't worked on your soul set, your soul, your spiritual life, then you won't know some kind of a mighty mission or cause that's bigger than your ego. And if you haven't found that, then there's no way in the world you'd be able to take a bullet for that cause or that obsession that is important to you. And as I've often shared, until your mission becomes your obsession, your business will never rise into a movement. So I wanted to offer you those ideas, and I wanted to also remind you of a few things that deep within me I believe are very true. Number 1, please remember, genius is less about your genetics and natural gifts, and it's more about your daily routines and your daily rituals, and filling your life with the right people, and filling your mind with the right information, and your heart with the right emotions. And we all can do this. I mean, it's one of the great sadnesses of the world that we pedestal these people who are living, great business lives, or great humanitarians, or great inventors. Like I was very blessed to spend some time with Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple Inc. Last week. And what I learned from him was quite remarkable. And I learned in particular about his commitment to only release world-class products, but also to be a very humble human being, and to be a good person, and he said something when I interviewed him that I want to share with you. He said, when someone is bad to me, I'm good to them. That was a core philosophy. But again, if someone's bad to you, don't just shift to the positive thinking. Acknowledge if you're angry or sad or hurt or whatever. Acknowledge that so it doesn't stay toxic and repressed and suppressed in you, because that'll affect your performance and your thinking. Feel it and let it go. And then you shift to installing the right mindset. I hope that's making sense. But I know you can play a genius in your own unique way. I know that no matter what you're going through, whether it's good or not so good, it is for your good. I know that even if you're in a hard time of your life, you probably have 1,000 things you could be grateful for. But the human brain has this negativity bias, and it allowed us to survive thousands of years ago when there was a lot of threats in our environment. Now in this modern age, we live like kings and queens relative to how people lived hundreds of years ago. And yet our brain still focuses on what we don't have and the negative qualities in other people and what we wish we had. And you know this, but optically things on the outside look better in other people's lives, and we don't know what people are struggling with.
People are teaching self-esteem these days, but they don't connect it to discipline. The least lack of discipline, and it starts to erode our psyche.
So the days you don't feel like getting up, just think about them. Somebody tell me in this room, when you think about your siblings, when you think about mom and dad and grandma, when you think about your uncle and aunts, when you think about those coaches, those people who've been there for you, just raise your hand if you said, E.T., sleep is better than that.
Make sure that as an inspiring actor, that it is your gift to act, not your passion. You gotta be careful about pursuing your passion, young people.
Keep it moving, be productive, be powerful, and from the bottom of my heart conduct. Your business. This is it. Your journey can be seen millions and millions of miles away in everything that you think. Therefore, you shall be greater than your fears. Be stronger than your doubts, because your mind is very powerful. Stop being sorry and start doing better. Better within you, better than anyone has ever seen, better than your mistakes, better than your failures, better than those that doubted you. Lift yourself up, stop with the excuses, stop doing things that you know that is not right doing.
One of the greatest temptations is to just ease up a little bit, right? The slightest lack of doing your best starts to erode the psyche. Instead of doing your best, doing just a little less than your best. Sure enough, you say, well, it's just going to affect my sales. No, it's going to affect your consciousness. It's going to affect your philosophy. Now you've begun in the slightest way to affect your own philosophy. Here's the problem with the least neglect. Neglect starts as an infection. And if you don't take care of it, it becomes a disease. One neglect leads to another. The worst of all, when neglect starts, it diminishes our self-worth, our self-confidence, our self-value.
Many of you are denied your dream and your goal because you have a consistency versus an intensity problem. Consistency is when you do something. Intensity is how you do something.
You say, well, how can I get back my self-respect? I'm telling you, you don't have to go to 29 classes. All you have to do is start the small discipline that now corresponds to your own philosophy, like I should, and I could, and I will. No longer will I let neglect stack up on me so that I will have the sorry scenario 6 years from now, giving some excuse instead of celebrating my progress. That's the key to discipline. Okay? Let's get kids involved in the least of discipline. One more, and then one more, and then another one, and then another one, and then some more. And the first thing you know, you're starting to weave the tapestry of a disciplined life into which you can pour more wisdom and more attitude and more strong feeling, more faith and more courage. Now you've got something, a vessel in which to put it. And now the equities start to flow. And the early return, I'm telling you, if you'll start this process, the early return will have you so excited, you'll commit yourself to this strategy for the rest of your life.
And that's why many of you, no matter what you do, no matter how much you do it, no matter who you're looking at, no matter what you read, you gonna be denied because you think that just being consistent at something is gonna let you win. It just, that earns you a right to win. That I'm being denied that corner office. I'm being denied that car. I'm being denied this quality of life. I'm being denied that opportunity, this scholarship. I keep getting cut off the team. You know, if I just stay, if I just keep practicing, I just stay around this team, sooner or later I'll make it. No, you won't. No, you won't. Because consistency does not guarantee you the win. Many of you, as bad as you don't want to accept this, you're never going to win. Because you're not intense enough. And until you get intense to the point that nothing will get in your way, that you will not get in your way, you'll never win.
All the things that will make you better depends on how you think, how you feel, what you do. How you perceive there are going to be times that you're going to want to give up, but you'll have the permission to do so. You must carry on the good fight. What great is in you if you don't believe of your greatness that you possessed inside? What good is your greatness if you don't stand on it? How can you hold on to who you really are? Inside the water may be a little rough. The tide could be coming in, but you got to keep on fighting. You got to keep on.
Just raise your hand and tell me, anybody in the room, sleep is better than them, Eve.
No one's going to do anything for you. Couple rules of being a real leader. You need to take responsibility for your own life. Bringing energy to your team, leading in recruiting, leading in leadership, leading in growth. Nobody owes you anything, but you owe other people everything.
How bad do you want? You want it as bad as breathing? You want it as bad as anything you ever wanted in your life? And if you calibrate it at the highest enough levels, what I found is the people that are the hungriest, they find a way. When you know why you want something, when it's desperation, is something that most people avoid. They think desperation is a weakness.
You should pursue your gift. The Bible says your gift will make room for you and put you in the presence of great men. It says nothing about your passion. A lot of people pursue their passion and they forget about their God-given gift. Your greatest chance for success lies in pursuing the gift. So make sure you're not pursuing a passion. I'm passionate about golf. I love golf. I can't play golf. I love being outside. I love the carts. I love the grass. I love the challenge. I'm not a good golfer. I'm passionate about it. Got the clubs, the clothes, golf simulator, putting green in my backyard. I got sand trap in my backyard. Still can't get out the damn sand.
Swimming this path that you are taking right now, this emptiness that you are feeling, right now it is only a temporary magic, temporary thing that is going on inside of you. Right now it's only temporary. But it is necessary that you struggle, it is necessary that you feel alone, it is necessary that you have to continue to go forward. This is not the time to quit, this is not the time to give up. Even when you think you're weak, you have a way to be strong. Yes, darkness is upon you, but there will come a time. The sun will shine dawn. His coming the sun is going to rise, and you will see the light within you.
And I'm here to tell you, desperation is one of the most powerful emotions you could possibly possess, because when you're desperate, you find reserves and reservoirs of ideas, talents, when you find yourself in a desperate situation. So ironically, the one thing most people avoid in their life, hunger, which is caused by being desperate. When you're starving, you become desperate. Think of somebody who's starving on the street. How resourceful would you get if your children were literally starving and you had to feed them, right? So the number one thing we need more than anything to win is hunger, which comes from a state of desperation. Yet we're constantly trying to comfort ourselves in the real world to avoid the state of being desperate.
I knew someone was better than me. There's more talented people than me, probably more talented than you. But like my dad said, the best ability is availability. You might outwork me for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, but you ain't gonna beat me over a year.
I can get out, but I can't put the ball where I want it. So you gotta make sure that you're gifted at it to pursue it. That's first. I can't tell you how many people are in Los Angeles, California, working at restaurants and Best Buys with their headshots. And every time you walk in there, Mr. Harvey, can you take my headshots? I said, what do you do? I'm an actress. What have you acted in? Nothing. I'm an aspiring actress. If you haven't acted in anything, then you're not an actress. You should go on some of these calls looking for tall, beautiful women. And you walk in the casting room and oh my God. Oh my God. The most stunning women you've ever seen. Can't remember a line. So be careful. It's doable, but you have to make sure that it's your gift.
Nothing can stop this because that light has already been there, that light is embedded in you, that light exists in you. The time has come for you to succeed, for you to stand tall, for you to understand that you've got a mission and your mission is not done yet. Every day it's not going to be a good day, but every day is a blessed day. Because you are above the ground, you are walking tall, there is no time for sorrow. Because misery has no place in your life. The mind is a powerful weapon because no matter what's happening, your mind does matter, and if you put the wrong things inside of your mind,